The U.S. dollar has been on a tear against other currencies for the past month, and on Thursday hit a 14-year high. How will consumers benefit from the strength of the dollar, and could the dollar's rapid rise wind up being too much of a good thing? Chelsey Dulaney reports on world currencies for the Wall Street Journal and joins us now to discuss. Hi, Chelsey. Great to see you. So the dollar certainly got a jump start after the presidential election, but did the Fed decision to raise rates then also intensify it?
It did. So yeah, after the election, people started focusing on this idea of stimulus, and that's going to improve growth, that's going to boost inflation. And so the big wild card was what the Fed was going to say. And the Fed has been wanting to raise rates pretty much all year. They came into 2016 saying they were going to raise rates 4 times. They didn't. And so they did raise rates this week, and they boosted their forecast for rates increases next year. So yeah, that's been very good for the dollar.
And so now we're looking at a dollar. It's at a 14-year high. Over the long term, how could this hurt the U.S. economy?
Yeah, so the dollar is it's a double-edged sword, because if it gets too strong, it can be very destabilizing for the U.S. economy and the global economy at a whole. So U.S. corporations, a lot of them export a lot of goods, and when the dollar gets strong, it makes them less competitive abroad. So that can filter through to stock prices.
Could this concern then filter down to the Fed when it considers raising rates again in 2017?
Yes, definitely, and that's happened. This happened a year ago. The Fed raised rates and the dollar rallied, and it caused a lot of concern about what's going to happen in China, because this pressures China. It raised concerns about oil, because oil also comes under pressure because it's priced in dollars. And so that was a big reason why the Fed was on hold the entire year. So it can end up preventing the Fed from raising rates again.
But of course, it's not all bad news. There's some good news for consumers, especially when it comes to traveling abroad, right?
Yeah, so for U.S. consumers, it does have some pretty good impacts. So for one, it becomes a lot cheaper to travel to Europe. The euro is at a 13-year low against the dollar. So flights to Europe, hotels in Europe.
I was looking at Rome recently. Goods. I can confirm that that's true.
Yeah, it becomes much cheaper. You can buy, Burberry bags in London for a much cheaper price. You can buy things in...
What about U.S. imports? So you mentioned things like tequila from Mexico. So
right, and that's already been happening this year because the dollar has been stronger. But it does make foreign goods a lot cheaper in the U.S. So things like liquor imports from Mexico, from Spain, from France, they've already been soaring. So you can get cheaper French butter, you can get cheaper Mexican tequila, things like that.
So at least we're going to have some great parties in 2017, it looks like. Chelsey, thank you so much for that.
Thank you.